My domain is UX, user experience, as I prefer to call it. However, today we're going to talk about not just UX, not just user experience, but in general about the workflow that would allow us to create successful digital products. So, in fact, this is about value. The challenge here is quite simple. It's actually turning great ideas into great software. So it looks a little bit like this. The plan is usually quite simple. We have a great idea. A client comes with a great idea of some software, and they want to create this software in a manner that it's actually great, it's converting and so on. It's visually appealing, and of course works great. However, in reality, sometimes it's different. So out of a great idea, there is something created that is just software. It's not that much great as it was planned originally and so on. So actually, we don't know where is the problem. It's probably somewhere here in the process, maybe. Maybe it's about the idea itself. Maybe it's about the final product. I don't know. Let's just crack on this. Why is it so hard to achieve? I believe everyone knows this. This is a tree project. This is something that was created, I believe, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, when basically everyone used just waterfall. And I particularly like two slides out of it. I mean, this one, how the analyst designed it. Apparently, at that time, there was no role of user experience in the project. And how it was documented, because Agile doesn't actually focus on extensive over-documentation of everything. However, as you can see, this is something that happens also right now with some projects. Sometimes I didn't dare to use this STX color background here because this is definitely not what we are doing. However, if we converted it to these days, it could be something like this. So the client says everything is described in some kind of specification, initial document, whatever there is. And then it goes on. There's a discussion regarding how it should be done within a software house. And there are several ideas that could be done, or maybe sometimes this is something that just is the outcome of the development process. So, yeah, we have something that would, for example, a bad developer say, he would say that it works for me. And of course, to the client, would present this like a feature that is using the cutting-edge technology, and it's great. And of course, the documentation would be just outdated, and nothing would be actually documented, described. And actually, the bugs would eat the tree. However, in these days, we have Agile. In these days, we have also another techniques to make sure this is successful. And you know what? Actually, even the tree project can be done right. What should we do to make it right? So the right way of doing the tree project is using dialogue. Dialogue between all the parts of this process. So there is a client, there are developers, there are designers, there are product owners, and so on. And just imagine a situation in which a client comes and says that this is exactly what we want. This is what we want to achieve. And then we start talking. We start talking about the idea. And we propose some maybe possible solutions, something that can be done using this technology, that technology, some ideas how it could be done. And actually, during the initial workshop, we would find initial discussion, we would find some things that are not bringing a lot of value to the users. And of course, we're going to just not go, decide not to go into this way. And of course, there will be some ideas that would not convert into something that is really valuable from business perspective. And of course, something that wouldn't work at all. And in the end of this discussion, we would find a solution that will be fine, that will be just exactly what we want to achieve. It is different from what was created at the very beginning, what was described at the very beginning, because of course this is a little bit refined. And then we would progress with the agile development from some kind of MVP to the final product we have. Okay, so let's just try to apply it in real life, on a real project. So a few steps backward. The questions asked at the very beginning of every project, I believe, are, can this be done? Is it feasible in production? And will the developers actually, will the software house understand what you want to achieve? And will the cooperation be good? And what is the best technology to use in this case? And this is the technology point of view. At the same time, we should ask a question, who are the users we are addressing this product to? And which of these users are most important for us? And actually, how can we meet their needs? And of course, from the business perspective, from the business point of view, we would ask a question, how much it will cost? Will there be some overworking? Can we avoid some cost? What will be the return over investment? And so on. There's a lot of questions about different areas of the project. So, in general, this sums up into one question: will it be successful? So, what is a successful digital product? The answer is very simple. It's a product that is supremely developed. It makes users happy, and of course, it responds to the needs of business, so it gives high business value. So, in fact, the digital product that consists of, let's say, 3 areas. There is the business area, there is the user point of view, the user's perspective, there is the technological perspective. It shouldn't look like this. It should overlap as much as it's possible. Of course, it's never possible to achieve a situation when it will overlap in 100%, so everything will be just in 100% sync. But let's just reduce the differences between these points of view. How should we make it happen? How can we make it happen? And this is actually our method. We have found out that at each level, there are actually 3 steps that we are going through during the production, or not actually production, or going from the idea to the real product. So at the very first step, there needs to be, from business perspective, there needs to be a feature set oriented on business goals. And there needs to be, of course, also the production roadmap. And then, based on this production roadmap, we deliver the product on schedule. Then, from the technological point of view, we need to know that this is feasible in production. And we have the tailored technological stack for that, to produce this set of features. And at the end, we can use the agile development to make it happen. And from the user's point of view, we need to know who the users are, what are their needs, the requirements for the product, what would be very catchy for them in the product. And then we need to focus on performance-centered design. And then we need to improve it along this agile development in an iterative way. So actually, as you can see, this forms 3 steps in each of these areas. So why don't we use a process that would embrace these? Why don't we use something like this? We just start from forging the vision, which is our discovery, or D1, how we describe it. Then we progress to working on the details of this idea, which we call defining. And then we go to the delivery, which is actually our agile development. Let's just focus on each of these phases a little bit. So let's start with the discover part. Actually, the first part, which is discover, it doesn't take much time. It's something that takes like 1 week or 2 weeks, and it's brainstorming. So from something that is not very much defined, we start working on this and just try to make it into something that's more understandable for every part of this of the process, to make it the best thing ever. How we do it? We do it during something we call discovery workshops, and the workshop is actually about business, technology, and users. During the workshop, we discuss it from each of these perspectives. And we discuss it in a group of people that are actually focused on this product. From client side, there could be some participants. And of course, from our side, there need to be people that would say, this is feasible, and this will be probably the developer, a software architect, or anyone else. There needs to be someone who will take care for the product as a product owner, and then there needs to be someone who will take care for the products from the user experience perspective. So actually, all the 3 areas are covered by this team. What do we do during this discovery? Of course, we create some product vision. We create product vision to know actually what we are going to produce, what we are going to create. And then we split it into some areas of the product. We do the story mapping. We create MVP out of it, which you can see here. This is actually something from one of our discovery workshops. It has been blurred because we don't want to share these actual details. And then we create also user personas so that we can know what this is addressed for, who this is addressed for. And then we come up with some ideas. The ideas of the interface. This one is quite conceptual because at this level we just create some conceptual user interface. So we can have some ideas regarding how, for example, some elements are going to work in our system, or how the views are going to be constructed. So we focus on the micro interactions, on the general views, and so on. And the other thing that is constructed at this stage is also the architecture of the whole system. So to sum it up, after the discovery, we end up with an idea plus, how I call it. So this is a refined idea containing all these artifacts which define this idea better than we knew it at the very beginning. Because we have these user personas, basic wireframes, we have basic product roadmap, and of course we have some technical requirements specified for this development process. And in fact, from the idea point of view, it's defined in the 3 areas we have defined at the very beginning, which is business, because it's business optimized. You can even come up with a better conversion model or whatever else. it's adapted to users' needs. So we actually know who this is for, what feature set we need to prepare here. And of course, we also know that we are not going to try to produce something that it's not going to be possible in product, not going to be feasible in production. So having all of these, we can skip to the next part of the process, which is definition. And the definition is actually something also that doesn't take much time, but it's working on the details of this idea. So having all the artifacts we had in the very beginning, we build it to the next level. We take it to the next level. So we progress, for example, in the user interfaces. We progress from the conceptual UI that we have come up with in the D1, in discovery. Then we can create low fidelity UX design, and it actually depends on the particular product if we need to go for some high fidelity UX design or not. But usually we can also create this. And of course we have a production plan. We need what features need to be created. We start creating backlog and so on. And in this second phase, we also construct the proper team for production of this idea. So the construction of this team actually can be different from project to project. However, usually, of course, there needs to be some developer, there needs to be a Scrum Master. In some cases, we have product owner. QAs, of course, are here. And there is also user experience designer who will take care for this process, for this development process in the next phase. And of course, what we have also defined, there is also the detailed knowledge about what we are going to use in this particular development. So we have the architecture, we have the technology stack, we have everything packed into something that is very much prepared for the next stage, which is the actual development. And there we are. This is the delivery. In delivery, we follow the way of the agile development, something that you already know because this is our common practice. So this is nothing that I would like to describe in details here. However, one thing that needs to be a little bit explained here is the participation of UX design in this. And this is something we have tested and it really works great. Because based on what we have created at the very beginning in this D1 and D2 phases, we can progressively add more and more features. We can redesign the interface. We can improve it from sprint to sprint. Of course, in this case, trying to define the interface for the next sprint so that the developers know exactly what needs to be prepared there. A summary, quick one, is that using this process, we are creating an idea that is optimized regarding its business value, that is less risky regarding the production, that has improved the cost-to-profit ratio. And of course, there is also the optimized time to market because we can actually schedule some MVP and so on. And there is less or even no rework. So in fact, it's building the understanding of the product throughout the whole group of people that's working on it. And this understanding builds trust between all the parts of this process. And this trust actually builds the real value, which is what we wanted to achieve. And that's it. The whole discover, define, deliver idea. Something to do at the very beginning of this process and then to use during the development. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for this one. And my question is, and what about, because you suggested that you would like to have UX guys as a part of agile teams, let's say, so the development agile teams, however we call them. And what about if UX team is separated from agile teams, from the whole development, like it, let's say it works separately and creates some sort of mock-ups or whatever upfront and then delivers it to the agile team? Do you think like this is there is a weakness in this approach?
Yes, I think this is some kind of weakness because, well, in fact, this is the model that is used, I think, most commonly when you use a UX agency for that. Because if you use an UX agency, they don't have this technical perspective. They have the business point of view, which they take from the client. They have their point of view regarding the best practices, regarding construction of the interfaces and so on, but they lack this technical knowledge. After all, UX designer is not the smartest guy in the room, never. So all the competences need to be gathered together to make everything work in sync. So this is why we should have all of these participants grouped together. So does it answer a question?
Yes, it does. And so surprisingly, I have another one.
Please.
Yeah, because okay, so you're talking a lot about the business value, and I guess I have the feeling that you're mentioning a lot about business value that is or the proposal for a business value that is prepared upfront. So we start work, we are trying to find out what our users are, what their needs are, and all these other things. How about the part that's happening after the development, or the part of development, let's say after sprint 2, or like after each sprint? Do you feel like this sort of agile team should be responsible also for gathering the information from the market and to just be aware of the results of what they develop, or do you think that there should be another team that should be just dealing with that?
So you mean some kind of research or?
Yeah. I mean, like you develop something, and like to be able to understand if what you developed brings the business value, you need to have somebody doing it somehow. And in this presentation, you didn't mention who would be responsible for that, for gathering these results from the actual users. And do you think that team should be responsible for that, or some other department in the company?
Okay. So actually, I think there are various approaches here. We can do some research on our side. We can depend on what the client comes up with. It just depends on the situation. In some cases, the heuristics, the knowledge of the UX designer is something that is just okay for the process. In some cases, we need to verify some ideas, and this is something that, well, actually could be depending on at which stage of the development we are. Because if we are at the level of some MVP, we can actually gather some statistics and so on. We can, based on this, we can make another assumptions, and we can actually work on the evolution of the interface of the whole product. So this is something that is quite much possible. However, I believe it's various between the projects. So the approaches can be different.
I wonder, would you go that far and putting client in the agile team? Because client is usually outside and just want stuff done, but since you want to do it the right way, because I agree, would you put the client in the team and work along?
So actually, it also depends on the particular project, because even now we have a project in which we cooperate exactly this way. So there is a client side of the general project, and there is our side of the project. So we both cooperate on this. We both create some ideas for the interface, for the next features, and then after everything is created during the refinement sessions, then the UX designer, actually me in this case, I create the interface for this, and it works quite efficiently. However, in some situations, I don't know, in some situations the client could just define the requirements and we can focus on this, and we can come up with new ideas of some features and then pack it for the client. And then when the client says, yes, this is what we wanted, then we can proceed with development. So it's quite flexible. Moreover, you can actually use this process partially. So you can actually use only the part that is used at the level of delivery. You can just focus on the definition and then delivery, or you can go through all the whole process. So I think it's quite efficient and flexible.
So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.